I'm going to talk today about used cars, dog food, relations, transparency, and semantics. And of course, no talk is complete without a reference to the matrix. I love computer science, and that led to this happy day when I defended my PhD in computer graphics. During my postdoctorate, I taught courses of topics on which I was one of the few experts worldwide. I was literally the sage on stage. But when I started to teach undergraduate, I started to feel more and more like this guy over here. Was my job really based on people not knowing about Khan Academy, YouTube, Coursera, and other free platforms where students can get the same content from better experts with better production value and on demand? I was soon going to be jobless. I sought refuge in semantics and decided that I'm going to reclaim my profession. I'm going to share how I did that in a course on data structures. I'm a visual person. So one of the first things I did was to ask PTA to design a graphic based on the content of the course. This image ended up being the title image of the course. Eat your own dog food is a term used in product design. The idea is to use your own product. So when I release my assignments, I make sure that I've done all of them myself beforehand so that I know the level of difficulty, any problems, and any pitfalls that the students may face. When I talk about open source in the course, I make sure that the book I use is also open source. When I tell my students that graphs are a great way to model relations, I make sure that I present the results of course surveys as graphs. When the course is about programming, I make sure that I also write a lot of programs and I open source the code. We have a great course. We have thought about the content. We made the most fun assignments. Of course, the students will love it. That's what I used to think, but not anymore. In order to meet my students, I have to go where they are at, or at least meet them halfway. So I made a social media note for our course. Those graphs that I showed you, I post those in the social media group. The students can then like, dislike, comment, or simply ignore. That open source code, I post about that as well. I share some jokes. Eventually, the students catch on. When I was a student, my book was full of problems like this. I'll give you a minute to go over it. You don't have to work it out. So, how great is Chandler? His life is a quest in mathematics. But what about me in Karachi? What about Faizan and Bushra? How many of them know about supper jobs? And who in Karachi cares about mountain bikes? So is mathematics really only about Chandler riding his shiny mountain bike into the sunset on a forest trail on a European hillside? What about me, Karachi? And when most of the problems in my book are like this, I feel like I have very connection with the content. So in this course, I made sure that whenever my assignments use images, I use images that the students can relate to. When I introduce new data structures, I make sure to connect them with tools and technology that the students are already familiar with. And of course, I post more details in our social media group. But why? That is a favorite question of my son. Students also want to know why. So I make sure that whenever I release an assignment, I also release alongside a detailed write-up of how that assignment fits within the context of the course. I also release alongside a detailed rubric of how their work will be assessed. And in order to promote peer learning and a sense of agency, the rubric has a peer-graded component. In their influential book, A New Culture of Learning, the authors compare learning with growing bacterial culture. Sent me within a controlled and confined environment, bacteria can grow into remarkable formations. In this course, we asked the students to submit abstract art that embodies some aspect of the course. A rubric was assigned alongside to convey the expectations. These submissions were inspiring. They contained arrangements of everyday objects, programmed art, collage, even original paintings. Each of them was also accompanied by compelling arguments of how the artwork relates to the course. Thinking in this unexpected manner about computer science turned out to be a breath of fresh air for the students, and many of them later reported this as the favorite part of their course. A wise man once said that there is a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. And I hope that over the last few minutes, I've given you food for thought on how you can walk your own path. And despite my obvious inferiority in looks and skill, I hope that through my quest to reclaim my profession, I have been greater proximity to Neo than to Harry Wormwood. Thank you.